finished. I don't quite know where we got cut off, but I was just saying that, in my view, the European Union will not make any particular declaration against the United States because it relies upon the United States, and particularly for military defense.
Yeah, I just heard that.
But it will attempt to avoid going along with the United States on the economic front. I mean, for example, most of the countries in the European Union refused to go along with the US policy of cutting Huawei out of the launch of 5G. So I think that's very typical. They'll be rather quiet and calm, but won't go along with the US policy.
So basically, you're positive about Huawei's 5G development in the EU?
Well, yeah, it's very simple because the Huawei is about 9 months to a year ahead in the development of 5G compared to other companies, and it's cheaper. So therefore, if you don't use Huawei equipment, it's going to be more expensive for 5G, and it's going to be later. And as 5G is a key to the whole economy, that means it's going to set back the whole economy.
Do you think the Americans accuse for Huawei will spy people in the EU or in the UK, in the America? How do you think about that? Do you think it's true?
Could you repeat it again? I couldn't hear very clearly.
Yeah, no problem. How do you think about America's accuse for Huawei will maybe spy on people in the EU and the UK and the America?
Look, this is absolutely ridiculous. Every intelligence agency in the world checks telecommunications equipment. I don't complain about this. This is the job of them, right? Yep. It means that the national security agencies in the United States will check everything in Huawei. I'm sure that China's national security agencies check everything in US equipment, and Britain's do as well. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Okay.
Yeah.
If the US national security agencies have found one single example of spying by Huawei, they don't need tariffs, they don't need barriers, they just publicize it. And Huawei is destroyed. You know, no, all they have to do is find one real example of spying and they destroy the company. They don't need all this. Therefore, the fact that they haven't produced one means that they haven't found a single example of spying carried out by that. So, therefore, this whole accusation is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, they didn't find any evidence. Yeah.
No, they destroyed the company. You don't need a tariff. All you need to say is, we have found the following evidence of spying by Huawei. We publicise it and the company's finished.
Yeah. Yesterday the operators in the UK said they will urge the government to clarify their position on Huawei. How do you think the UK government will respond to that?
Well, I think this has become tied up with the question of Brexit. Because Theresa May, who wanted to deal with the European Union, had a clear position to allow Huawei to participate in the launch of 5G in this country. But the United States, which is pushing for a hard form of Brexit, is tying, or even a no-deal Brexit, is tying this to not using Huawei. So if you have a no-deal Brexit Prime Minister, for example, Boris Johnson, then I think he may change his position on Huawei. There is a danger of that type. It would damage the Britain economy, but the US doesn't care whether it damages Britain's economy or not. It just doesn't want it to use Huawei equipment.
Yeah. So if not Boris Johnson, maybe the situation would be better.
Well, I think it probably won't make a difference. I assume that a no deal, a hardline pro-Brexit person will win the Tory leadership contest. Probably Boris Johnson, but it's somebody with the same views, and this is a danger for Huawei. No doubt about it.
So, how do you think about the UK will engage in the Belt and Road Initiative?
Again, it depends very much upon what happens over Brexit. That whole issue has come tied up with China. If we go back to the so-called golden period of relations between China and Britain under Cameron, Cameron had a completely clear strategy, a very logical one. He wanted Britain to be the point of entry for Chinese companies into Europe. This had a lot going for it. London is a very important financial centre, most important in the world outside New York. English is the main foreign language spoken by Chinese companies. This was a very logical strategy. Obviously, if Britain withdraws from the EU in the form of a hard Brexit, then that strategy won't work at all. Therefore, this would have negative consequences for China-Britain relations. And I think, again, if you take a support of a hard Brexit Prime Minister, they will be more hostile to relations with China. So we have to see that the situation between China and Britain has become very much intertwined with the question of Brexit, which is in Britain the dominant question at the present time.
Yeah. If you didn't talk about the UK, how do you think about the Belt and Road Initiative?
Well, I think that if you'd had the previous Cameron type of policy, then Britain would very much have wanted to participate in the Belt and Road Initiative. Britain took the decision to become part of the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, for example, before other countries. And I think it would have taken the same attitude with the Belt and Road Initiative. I think that a new British Prime Minister will have a more cautious attitude. On the other hand, a hard Brexit will have very negative consequences for the British economy, and therefore they may be inclined to be more toward the Belt and Road Initiative. But I would think a hard Brexit will, on balance, be more negative for the Belt and Road Initiative.
Yeah. I know you. I'm not sure if you are still working with Chinese government or some organizations. Are you?
No. Well, yeah, I'm a senior fellow at Chonyang Institute of Financial Studies, Renmin University of China.
Oh, yeah.
If you quote me, it is very important that you say that.
Yeah, I will. So, from your perspectives, what would you say have been the biggest changes you have observed inside China, and how it behaves on the global stage for over the past 10 or 20 years?
Well, the biggest change inside China is the increase in the standard of living of the population. By far, I mean, if you take just two simple topics. Firstly, the high-speed train system. I used to very regularly make the trip between Shanghai and Beijing. It used to take me all day, and it used to be a real hassle because I had to go by plane.
Yeah.
Now I'm settled down in my nice high-speed train. I plug my computer into the socket, and I can work all the time. So I gain, virtually a whole day's work through that. And I remember with my colleagues, Chinese colleagues at work, they were very excited, all that time ago, that, taking their first foreign holiday. Now they're planning how to take their parents to Europe and things like that.
Yeah.
So, and the complete transformation, for example, with the use of electronic payment. I'm a very old-fashioned person. I still use cash. So I look an old type person in China. But that's the biggest. The biggest increase is just simply the big change. I mean, if you take it I've been working in China now for 10 years. The standard of living has doubled in China in that period of time. Dramatic.
Yeah. How about China's performance on the global stage?
I think it's extremely skillful. I'm not saying it only because he's the president of China, but I think that Xi Jinping's foreign policy, particularly the idea of a common destiny of humanity, is absolutely brilliant. That's my view. And I was like, you might put it this way, I was slightly nervous. I was asked to review Xi Jinping's book on the governance of China, and I thought this was a bit difficult because I'm not prepared to write what I don't believe. So if I hadn't liked the book, I wouldn't have said this is a very good book, but it's a brilliant book.
Yeah.
And therefore, I think that the foreign policy basis of China is absolutely correct. I mean, and it's become very important now because we have a United States who's acting outside all multilateral rules. For example, it's a threat. The United States has sabotage the World Trade Organization.
Yeah.
By not appointing judges for disputes, it's fundamentally. And the World Trade Organization is the foundation for multilateral trade.
Yeah.
So it's very. So China's support for multilateral national organizations is extremely important. Not only China, but it's important for everybody else as well.
Yeah. Can you give some example? China is very important in the multilateral trade.
Well, I think that, for example, if you take the Belt and Road Initiative area, which is, I'll give a very direct definition of it, which is I call it just China plus ASEAN plus the Commonwealth and Central States, Russia, Turkey, Iraq, and Iran in Middle East, because I don't believe on serious matters there's any purpose to exaggerate it. The growth potential of that is almost twice that in the next 5 years by the United States. It's almost twice that of the United States, as projected by the International Monetary Fund. The developments of China in the Belt and Road Initiative and so on is the most important growth developments in the whole world. And again, that's not just my view. You go and do the calculations from the International Monetary Fund, and the International Monetary Fund is not in the pocket of China.
Okay, basically you've answered all the questions. Yeah.
Right. Look, there's one very important thing. Let me give you my email address, please.
Oh yeah. Is that the? I think I've sent you the email. Yes. The day before yesterday.
Oh, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Please, a very important thing.
Yeah.
So if you use any of the quotations from me, please send me a link.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, I will.
Yeah, because one of the things that most annoys me as journalists is they take up my time asking questions and then don't send the link. So to stay on good terms with me, please send me a link. Okay?
Yeah, I will definitely. Yeah, actually, it's Mr. Yan Moufeng. Send your contact to me. Do you still remember him?
I think so, but I quite honestly meet a large number of people. So.
Yeah, that's him. From the, I think I'm not sure about the organization, but it's him.
No, I remember they've a number of people contacted me, and he was one of them.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you use it at all, please just send me a link, okay?
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.